Evil Dead Burn. This is a spoiler review. I have a review over at soundedbettermyhead.com. That's spoiler free, so if you want to check that out first or as an alternative to this, whatever, go for it. I ended up giving this movie a 2 out of 5. I was actually almost tempted to give it a little bit higher, but it's not as good as some of the other 2.5 star movies I've seen this year, and it just wasn't that great. I think I also really set my expectations pretty low because it was getting bashed pretty hard. But I think knowing that and knowing what to expect going in, I ended up enjoying it still overall. One problem I had is I did not. First of all, I'm not that super into the Evil Dead franchise. I vaguely know the lore. I don't know that much, a lot of the finer points. I did not see the television series at all. I don't think it probably ties into this at all. But I didn't see Evil Dead Rise before seeing this movie, so there was some references to that are in this movie, and they went over my head. I mean, I still didn't hurt the movie that bad, like especially the earlier sequence. I'm like, okay, I get the gist of what's happening. I'm not like completely confused. But it would have been nice, I guess, seeing that now in hindsight. Which, by the way, I did go back and watch Actually, I watched it this morning. I watched Evil Dead Rise, and now I understand what the tie-ins are about. The thing about this movie is you gotta know the characters are weak. Like nobody's that interesting. It's all about this family drama. You got these rich family that doesn't like their daughter-in-law for whatever reason, and they all got a lot of money, and they own this restaurant, and not that that's that big of a deal. It's just none of their drama is remotely interesting, and the characters are just really bland, and you just kind of wooden at points. It's like I don't care about any of these characters, and there's one girl that you give sympathy for. It's like, okay, she's going to be the final girl, so then at least you start rooting for her. And once you narrow in as that as being the only important character, I think the movie gets a lot more, watchable. It's weird pacing too. It's like it starts off with something that's actually tied to the previous movie. Like I said, that I didn't understand what was happening, but it was a good setup. Those people get slaughtered. It's like a good way to set up a horror movie. And then it gets to this big car crash. And I'm like, all right. And then it cuts back, and it does this whole new sequence that basically takes place right before that, and it starts getting into that family drama, and most of it seems like, okay, this is just whatever the scene is, it's not going to permeate the rest of the movie, but it does. And then it cuts to the crash again. To be honest, it just kind of took me out of it in a way. I think what would work better is they did the slaughter at the beginning. You see the Deadite walk to the side of the road and then stop, and then you see that she's been standing there for a minute, and then you cut away, do the family stuff, and then you do the crash. I don't know, just the way they did it kind of twice like that, I think it just kind of, I thought the pacing kind of was screwed up. It hurt the flow really bad early on. Because then after that, it's really slow for the most part for a while. And I think it hurts that, I saw the trailer and you see all the crazy shit that happens. And I knew, you could kind of tell that there was a car accident, a second car accident. And once that happens, shit's gonna start hitting the fan. So you're just kind of waiting for that to happen and waiting, and there's family drama. It's like, okay, and yeah, the dad's possessed at this point, and at least you're waiting for him to do something interesting, and he really kind of doesn't for a while. And then finally, we get to where the movie's gonna pick up, and I think from that point on, I was pretty invested in it. There's some majorly boneheaded decisions that, like, okay, this is just no logic behind this at all. And the biggest one is that the mother character, Susan, at one point, like, she knows her husband's fucked up. Like, he's stabbing the dog, he's killing people, he's shooting himself in the head multiple times and just laughing at it, and it's not even hurting him. Like, she knows he's not human. She's cool, like, leaving him locked out of the house. Her mother's got Alzheimer's. She's suddenly is like floating above the bed or just standing up, even though she's got one leg with a sheet over her head. And just because she calls her by her name and she remembered her name, she's like, oh my God, Mom, you're back. She's hugging her. It's like, you gotta be freaked out by this. Why are you just like, oh, this is fine? Oh, and then she wants me to let my husband in the house, even though he's nuts, yeah, I'll let him in and make out with him for like 10 minutes while he bleeds out of his mouth. Like, it just didn't feel like she got to that point. She shouldn't have been at that point yet of just hysteria where it's like, you know what, I'm just going with the flow and whatever. It's fucked up and I'm just rolling with it because everything's so bad. It's just like, I never felt like that she made that jump on screen. And it just is just stupid. And then there's other dumb decisions too, like, Alice, basically the main character, Alice, she's got a knife. She finds this knife that could kill the Deadites. She actually uses that one. It works. The other one pops their head up there instead of stabbing her real quick and getting away, or stabbing the next one when he comes up the ladder. It's like, I'm gonna climb out the attic window with this rotary saw and a chance of losing the knife. It's like, what? You had a weapon two weapons you wanted to like slow him down, one that actually kills him, and she just went out the roof for whatever reason. So like, I thought that was like another boneheaded decision that kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. But other than that, I think they said like once it got to like the house, I thought it was flowed pretty good. I think there's an inconsistencies of what the Deadites can and can't do. Like sometimes they're floating, they're walking on the ceiling, they got telekinesis, they're boiling water. It's like they're kind of unstoppable, and then they struggle like a door lock, even though we've seen them also have superhuman strength and punch through doors pretty much. It's like, but the door's locked, so I don't know. I guess I'm stuck here. Like, and it's like a game to them. Like, it'd be funny if I could trick them to let me out. But for the most part, it's just like, okay, you guys get some, like I said, especially the telekinesis shit. Like, seems like those, you could yank people out the windows if you can't get in the house. Like they said, their powers are always inconsistent, which kind of hurts it a little bit. Directing wise, I think sometimes it worked. They do like a lot of kind of choppy editing for some sequences, and I think sometimes that worked. Sometimes I think it didn't. There was a really cool sequence where Alice is kind of crawling along the floor, and there's this chaos going around her, and it's like pretty much a one shot from what I could tell. Like, so she's crawling, there's people getting thrown around in the background, shit's breaking, and you just focused on her. I thought that was a pretty solid shot. It was almost like kind of going like a haunted house in a way. Like, I don't know, it was a cool vibe. I kind of dug it. Overall, the effects look pretty good. It looks like they went with a lot of practical effects. The movie's super gory. It's one of the goriest ones that they think they've done in a while. I mean, I just watched, I said the last one. That's bad, damn near PG-13 compared to like, this movie. There's a couple points it looks like some stuff might be enhanced with CG. I think it's usually pretty smooth. The only one that's pretty, I don't want to say bad looking, but it's bordering on bad looking is you got the burned corpse chasing Alice at the end, and it just doesn't look good overall. It's got like a second-rate Vecna kind of thing going on, and it just kind of took me out of it again. Other than that, like I said, there's not a ton else to say about the movie. Again, most of the characters are just unlikable. I do also want to say that a lot of them are pretty boring initially, but once they start getting possessed by Deadites and they're allowed to just kind of like have some fun, I think they vastly get more interesting to watch. Like, okay, now the actors are just allowed to cut loose, so it's a nice little change of pace from the characters before. Like, okay, these are boring. At least when they're sadistic Deadites, they're a lot more fun to watch. And I said the only thing that threw me also, because I didn't see the last film, I always understood that someone needed to read from the Book of the Dead to summon these Deadites, and it's weird that the movie starts with those already Deadites kind of out there. And like I said, now that I've seen Rise, I understand why they're out there. Also, there's this knife in the film that could kill a Deadite. And there's this big thing that they can sense it. Or this thing, they'll sense it, and they're going to come for it because they need to destroy it. But it was like wrapped in a towel or something, like in a box, like under like in a wall somewhere. It's like they couldn't sense. Was there something special about the wall or the blanket or something? Was there something special about why they couldn't sense it? Like just shoved it like behind a wall. Like I wish there would have been a little more explanation of that. Like, oh, maybe the sun hits it. Maybe once the sun hits it, they could sense it. Like, it would have been nice to have a little tiny bit of like, wait, because it was a blanket and wrap it in the blanket again, and they can't sense it, and you haul ass with it somewhere. Like it was a kind of another plot hole early on in the film, and it a little bit later on too. And this film did have a mid-credit, which is nothing special. Like I noticed pretty quickly that the grandma, her leg was still hanging from the chair, but she wasn't there. I'm like, oh, either she's gonna pop up and attack Alice, or that's gonna be like like the end of the film, post credits kind of thing, which it was. Is the grandma still being out there? And then the actual post credit scene again went over my head because it was bringing back a character from the previous film, and again that would have been a big deal if I had saw that film. I'm like, oh, she's back, but I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess she's from another movie. I don't know why I should care. Also, I thought the score was pretty solid. Even though I had to wait through the credits since it was a post credit, and I was kind of like, the score is pretty good. So again, overall, if you know what you're getting into, it's not actually a pretty decent Evil Dead movie. It's not a good movie necessarily. It's a decent horror movie. It's a decent Evil Dead movie. But I think it was pretty watchable. Once you gotta get to a little bit of a slog at the beginning, and the characters, whatever. Just know that they're all expendable except for one, and I think you could have some fun watching it. But that's it. Like I said, I do got that spoiler-free version of this review up. I have some other movie reviews. I got some TV show reviews. I got a comic strip that I do. And all that stuff's over at soundofbetterinmyhead.com. So if you want to check any of that stuff out, that'd be awesome. And other than that, thanks for watching.